Tony Delaguardo is the character, and Tony represents the old guard. We see him in some scenes later in A Norwegian in the Family. Here, it's implied that he was the right-hand man of Paulie Maravelli. Uh, Heading into this book, it's assumed that uh, what's his name, Dario Sandoval, who's also called the Spick, uh, that he uh, was the killer.
There are several Spicks.
Yeah, that he was the killer. But we find out, I think we find out in this book that he basically was just a fall guy that Big Frank had set up, or he took the blame. So and Big Frank rewarded him. We don't know the mechanics that comes out in the later book. Tony Delaguardo is ignorant of this. He has no idea that Big Frank is behind it all, and so Tony is trying to find out what happened to his boss. This is in the mid '70s, so this is about 7 or 8 years after the events that led to the death of Paulie Maravelli, which on like a day or two before Martin Luther King was killed, um, and and so he hires Gino. He hires Joey Greco, who's Gino's sort of mentor when Gino finally got into the mob, to go find stuff out. He obviously doesn't have the best judgment. And he is someone who's loyal, and he thinks Big Frank is loyal to him, and Big Frank plays upon this. And Big Frank actually probably knows all about Tony D's looking into things, and sets things up so that Tony will feel guilt that eventually he capitulates into it. And that leads to probably the two major scenes of violence